Bigger. Better. Bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio.
We are still spilling the tea.
And committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman,
Live. Direct.
it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, Friday, part uno. How is everybody doing this beautiful Thursday morning? Can you believe that tomorrow is Friday already? Oh my God, where's the time going? Can you believe that it's going to be the middle of July here shortly? And then we're kind of like the halfway point for the year, and that's it. Wow, pretty wild. Morning to YouTubers, Instagrammers, Facebookers. That's probably not the way we would say Facebookers, but y'all know what I mean. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, Bobo 103.1 FM, welcome one and welcome all. And of course, now CMRTV.com. Those of you who are watching us on the website, thank you so much. It's a labor of love. I can tell you that. Oh, yes, honey child. And you guys know when I love something, I go all out for it. OMG. Love it. Putting lots of long nights and long hours. And we got a lot in the pipeline that I'm absolutely excited about. So we officially launched last week. And we launched with another daily show, Sabrina Speaks at 5, from 5 to 6 p.m. And she's been easing into it, you know. She's got her own style. Some of you were pressuring her like, oh, well, how's your show going to be different than Sandy? And I was like, yo, back off. Everybody's different. There's no two people that are alike. I'm, unique and different in my own crazy way. Got my own style going on, you know what I'm saying? And likewise, my apologies, she has her own styles going on as well. And I think that, it's going to be something for everyone. And I can tell you thus far that based on the response that we have received, oh my gosh, you guys are enjoying her show immensely. Now, of course, her show isn't on radio yet because we haven't launched the radio component. So do bear with us because we will get there. I'm going to go ahead and send out the links now, by the way, to all the people waiting on that. So we will eventually get there. That's going to be the last rollout. And there's a particular reason why we are doing it in the order that we're doing it logistically and really, quite frankly, just the mostly technical and logistical reasons. It makes sense to get all the content sorted on CMR TV first. And then we will actually proceed to launch the radio because the radio is going to be a carbon copy of CMR TV. So once we get the content and the formatting and everything solid on CMR TV, then obviously we're good for radio. So our content creators are super busy getting all of their content together. And a lot of them, I had an opportunity to speak with someone yesterday, and they were like, oh my God, Sandy, people think this is easy, but, they don't have a clue. And I said, honey chill. So they were saying that they don't envy Sabrina and I, who have to do a daily show, because doing a daily show is very, very different than what the rest do, which is like pre-recorded content. And even that, they're like, oh, this is challenging me in a totally different way. But they're up for the challenge. And a lot of them are really going to be doing amazing things that I think that the Cayman community is absolutely going to love and enjoy. And if you're sitting on the fence, you've been hearing me talk about this and you're like, maybe I want to do something, reach out to me. We can have a quick chat to see how that can be done. Now, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be carrying the load of the work. I will give you certain things to prepare yourselves. But quite honestly, the burden will be on you to bring it to fruition, to bring it to the table. Your motivation, well, you better love what you're going to be doing. That's the first thing. And then, of course, all of our content creators have the opportunity to take on advertising. So it is a business. I encourage them to put in their business licenses, incorporate their companies, if need be, do all of that and monetize it so that, time is money and you're making a little bit back out of the venture. So that's what we have going on. And, it's coming to come. And I'm extremely excited about it. So I hope that you guys will continue to be with us on what I consider an absolutely amazing journey. 8 years, we've just celebrated our 8-year anniversary. And we have, some advertising specials. We're reaching out to some smaller businesses who want to get their message out there more. And I can tell you that, not floating our own boat or whatever you'd call it, not bragging or anything like that, but the numbers, quite frankly, speak for themselves. And it is what it is. We have managed to create quite an indelible platform here that reaches a lot of people. So if you got a message out there, whether it's a lost and found or anything, I can tell you that it is going to reach a very, very wide audience, even beyond our borders. So those of you who are in tourism and advertising, you should really think about the fact that we have the US market in particular as our second largest group of followers. Remember I told you that fan from Philadelphia? He's like, oh my God. I was shocked that he actually recognized me. He's like, you're Miss Sandy from CMR. I was like, wow. Okay, then. So yeah, all righty. So lots of people all over the world are watching. So big shout out this morning to Windsor Park, folks. We got Washington Boulevard being represented. We got good folks down Wattlers. Is it Wattlers Road? Yes, being represented as well. Caymanians in Florida. Good morning to all of you. Big shout out to Miss Jan. Ms. Jan Lawrence, we always have you in our thoughts and our prayers, going through a little bit of a challenge in terms of her health these days. But we are, continuing to uplift you in a very, very positive way. So, yeah. All right. So, let me see. Okay, so let's get this show on the road this morning. I'm going to reveal and unveil myself for you guys. Everybody ready? Dun, 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 dun. I have done something different. Da, 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 da. Okay, bring it on. Let's see your comments. I had someone give me feedback yesterday on the studio. She's like, Sandy, I know that you're like, y'all, let's just get past what y'all looking at. We got a show. And she's like, but we got to look at you. And I said, you're absolutely right. I'm always open to constructive comments and criticism. So yes, you got to look at me. So I guess I'm going to try my best to look my best. Yes, honey, chill. And so I did my hair myself. Look at me. A 51-year-old trying to figure out how to do my own hair. What a mess. You cannot make this stuff up. Like legitimately, you can't. So I put the curlers in myself. I didn't do any spray or anything. I just threw them in there and kind of help keep a few curls. My girlfriend wasn't able to make it to help me out. So there you go. Worst case scenario, we can always pull it back in one like I do every other day. And we're still good to go. Good morning to Evelyn. Hello. Happy Thursday to Robert. Ebanks in the house. We got Jim Norris says, giving thanks to see another day. Good morning. Yes. Olivia's here. Just Sarah. Look at you, beautiful girl. Look at you. Mess with you. We got the lovely Miss Marjorie joining us from West Bay Road. Paul joining us all the way from Bermuda. What's your country initials? BM? And you're 441? From the 441? Yes. Lucille, all the way from the UK. Thank you, Miss Lucille. She says, lots of blessings always. Marshall joining us from North Carolina, but always remembering he is from the 345. Miss Barbara G in the house. Good morning. Hello, K-Mankind, Windsor Park crew. Strong Wilt is here. Says, good morning, Auntie Sandy and the CMR family. Yes, good morning, Patricia Blake. Beautiful Diamond Princess. It is a lovely Thursday. Miss Bonnie from East End. Evelyn says that Sabrina is doing well. I love her show. Yes. I mean, she is knocking it out of the park in terms of numbers. I must tell you, I am so incredibly happy for her. So good. You know, this is what we want. Okay. Huh. Somebody left a slipper in town. I know if I post this up, I am waiting I'm going to post it up because maybe someone really, someone might really be looking for the slipper. But I know when I post this up, I'm going to have people like Curtis. He's going to be like, well, I lost a toothpick in the bushes in East End. Oh, where's Curtis this morning? He is so naughty. Jim says Sabrina is doing great, and the love and support you're providing her, I'm sure, is very much appreciated. Yes, you know, she has obviously expressed her gratitude, and I'm happy to support her and all of my content creators. You know, after you guys thought we were probably drinking wine all night Friday night, after our little wine down Friday, and I can tell you that after the show, we actually ended up coming back to my place and doing a tutorial on the system that she's, you know, that we use in order to produce the live show. And so she was taking her notes, and good student, very, very smart and good student. And yeah, so we've been working hard to pull it all together. And every single day, aesthetically, she's doing something different and making improvements to her space. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. So I'm very, very proud of her. And, you know, as the other content creators come on board, I am equally going to be proud of them, I'm sure. Some of you have been trying to create a certain, my apologies, a certain narrative of friction between her and I. It doesn't exist. One thing, oh my gosh, hold on. I got to do a proper, I shouldn't do this on radio because this is so rude. How dare I? Hold on a second. Lord have mercy. I had one of the big bullfrogs in my throat, honey chill. But yes, I was saying that some of you are trying to create this narrative like, oh, I don't know how your personality is going to get along and this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, y'all need to get over it. You know, one of the things that I have learned over the years from, in particular, dogs. I'm not really a cat person. I can't speak to those cats. But one of the things that I've really, really learned about dogs, or from dogs, I should say. I learn a lot from dogs. They're so amazing. My tweet them. I love dogs. They're just the most amazing little things. Is that they have the capacity to just move on. They have the capacity to forgive and forget and just keep it moving, honey chill. And in life, trust me, as you get older, you want to waste less time on strife and pure foolishness. And even if you have to tell somebody off, you tell them off and you move on. Unfortunately, humans don't tend to be so mature. We tend to hold on to grudges and hold on to feelings and all sorts of stuff. Ain't nobody holding on to no feelings. 4 years ago, I moved past whatever. I mean, trust and believe, right? Sabrina has been on the show countless times when she was Minister of Health and Wellness. And yeah, you guys, some of you need to move on as well. Don't try to create a situation that simply doesn't exist. You know, I'm a woman's woman. I go to bat for women. I hold them accountable as well. And I want to help all entrepreneurs in this space do what I have done, which is create an amazing community space. And so, yes, her show will have her own personality on it, her own stamp on it. And I think that most of you will find, although it is different because she has a different personality than I do, she's a lot sweeter than me. Y'all know I'm salty. I don't know. I can be sweet, no doubt about it, but probably the salty and spicy comes first. Yeah, I'm ready to fire all the time. Pow! We're just different. She's demure. Okay. I love it. She's so demure and so pleasant to talk to. And I can't imagine her actually telling anybody off. You know, I'm like, the day that happens, whoo, I want to be there for it. I'm like, hallelujah. Thank you, Chapa Vida. Thank you. Loving the glasses. Yeah, I positioned myself a little bit differently. I'm actually sitting in a chair. Normally I'm sitting in one of those high rise chairs. And I threw that in and I think it actually helps with the placement of the camera and the lighting and stuff as well. So we're going to try this because the same camera you used yesterday, Nothing else has changed except today I'm sitting in a chair. And so because of my position to the camera, you're actually getting a totally different view. So no complaints so far. Vanessa says the hair looks amazing. Thank you so much. Glasses we've had for a hot minute now, believe it or not. I see y'all just noticing them because we're a little bit closer up. Yeah. So Sabrina is doing amazing. I'm so proud of her. And so we're going to support her in that space. Advertisers, listen, 17,500 views for over 2 shows last week. And so if you have a business, you want to make sure that you're on Sabrina Speak. I'm just saying. Yes, honey chill. And you know, when you are confident in yourself, yesterday she had an amazing interview with Ted Green. If you missed it, you missed a real treat. Go back and watch it. I was like, this young man, Miss Joyce Ann, you should be so proud of yourself to have raised such an amazing entrepreneur, and more importantly, a centered and principled young man. I could hear how he was answering the questions and the way that he was speaking. So humble. I absolutely love that for him. And so I'm going to be buying a couple of his fragrances because I'm going to be regifting them. So I want to encourage you to support Ted as well. I'll put up the number here in a little bit where you can call and get it delivered. If you live on island, a salesperson here can deliver some of these fragrances for you. And then, yes, I fully intend, I'm fully intend to regift them. So what's Strong Wilt saying? I look like I've been bleaching? Lord Jesus, no. we only moisturize, and even that we forgetting to do, honey child. We do not bleach. Let me show you what we use on the face. Most times I don't even use face powder. Let me show you. I'm using my little vitamin E tablets. See, my little vitamin E capsules. Healthy skin, vitamin E and aloe vera lotion, 6 breakable caps, and they're so thick that, look at this one. Okay, that's what it looks like. Just a little capsule, but they're so thick that you get, they have so much moisturizer in it. You get more than one use out of it because it's just amazing. So this is all I normally do most days. I put a little bit of moisturizer in my face because I have very dry skin. And so I'm trying to keep the wrinkles away by just properly moisturizing. And that's all I do. So it might be the lighting. If you think I'm too fair skinned this morning, I can adjust the exposure level a little bit and be a little bit browner. And that's it. That's all I do. Look at that. Just put it on and we are good to go, honey chill. And then I always like to wipe the lotion off my fingers. And that's it. Lotion. I might put on a little foundation later on because I do have a few business meetings later. Anywho, good morning, Janelle. Thailand in the house. Good morning, Miss Debbie. TT, is that Trinidad and Tobago? Could be. I can't see the flag. I can only see TT. Mr. Bad, you know who? Johanna's in the house. Who we're going to blaze up? We're going to blaze up Elio. We're going to blaze up Elio today. Jasara says, I agree. Sabrina is doing great and I enjoy the show. Yes, I'm enjoying it too. I was tuned in all day yesterday. Like I said, her interview with Ted Green had me, I couldn't leave. I was like, oh my God, this young man is amazing. I love him. Oh, and he's always so respectful when I see him. Miss Abby, Lavana, hello, Mamacita. Liliana, good morning to you. Your camera is looking great this morning. Wow, isn't this something? I mean, literally, the only thing that I've done is I've sat down in a chair. And it's the same camera. I positioned it maybe a little bit further back because I took it off of my standing desk. So I have one of these, it's not a full desk, but it's like a standing thing that I can pull up and down because I like to stand. You know, we're sitting too much in life. So sometimes we got to stand up. So before I used to stand during the show, pretty much for the entire show, because I'm like, I've been sleeping all night. I don't need to sit first thing in the morning. So I stand. But lately, because my knee has been bothering me, I have been sitting, but I sit in a higher chair, you know, one of those like countertop chairs. So now I'm sitting in my regular office chair This is my gaming chair. Those of you who are gamers, I put this here, but it has, the gamers will recognize the symbol. So this is my regular office chair. I do need to get something for my back, my lumbar area though, because I'm kind of sitting forward and that's not being fully supported. So I'm going to get a little lumbar cushion. But yes, all right. Well, if y'all want me to sit because I look better, I guess I'll have to do this and move more often throughout the day. Miss Delsey's sending a special birthday greeting to her granddaughter, Amora, 5 years old. Aw, so sweet. Happy birthday from Mom, Grandpa Ben, and Steffi. We love you so much. So we'll post her up a little bit later on the website. Damaris, Lavana says, love the hair. Thank you so much. Kim Mankind says, yep, you're looking good. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Neelis and Pat, good morning. Miss Morna in the house. Johan, it's too hot to get blazed up. Some of Auntie Sandra's brownies would go nice with a dark and stormy. Oh my God. Yes, sir. Lady Anna says, thank you, hon. I love your show. Oh, thank you so much. All right, let's get into it then. You know, that's what we're here for. Don't forget, CMR TV live right now. You can watch us on the website. Same thing at 5 o'clock. So, where shall we begin this morning, honey child? The headline, as you see, is talking about board appointments. And some of you mentioned that you wanted to talk about minimum wage. And I also want to talk about this recommendation from the observers, the election observers. Let me start with that one first, because perhaps in some ways that's the least controversial, because I think most of us will be on the same page here. So, you know, we always have these election observers. I think they come every time. We have an election every 4 years. And they claim that they're here to give us feedback on how we can improve our election process. And no doubt some of it should be taken on board. And I'm sure that it's you know, warranted. There are things, though, that they don't seem to see that the rest of us see. So like all the vote buying and stuff like that. Oh, we don't see any substantial vote buying. Well, maybe it's so ingrained in our election process that they just don't see it. But some of y'all out here literally giving out money during the election, but the election observers never saw it. They didn't see any vote buying. Okay, then. Y'all need a reality check, but that's okay. Because when you don't live here, it's easy to just like scratch the surface and this is paradise. That's why I love Amy Mobley's show that's coming called The Other Side of Paradise. Because we, as Caymanians, live on the other side of paradise. We know the real. We know what's going on. So one of the things that they decided to throw out there is that we should start allowing convicts, we should remove the restrictions preventing former convicts from running for parliament. And that also includes allowing people who have a conviction for theft. Now, I've explained this to you guys before, and I've told you that the one offense that you cannot ever commit and run for political office is a dishonesty offense, right? Let me see there. So they are suggesting that we remove that. No, thank you. Are y'all crazy? So that means that someone like McKeever Bush, instead of just voting his behind out, by the way, oh my God, stick a pin. Stick a pin. I had a dream about McKeever last night. Okay, this was a very disturbing dream in a way. Shall I tell y'all about this? Sometimes I don't like talking about my dreams because my dreams are, sometimes they're ominous. Sometimes they are, they're predicting something to come. So there are times that I don't like to talk about it because something is likely to be happening. Oh my God. Mike says, do we want to hear? Yes. Okay, I'm going to tell you. It is so fresh in my head and my dreams are so detailed. Now, I'm not good at interpreting dreams unless it's a direct, and I have had direct premonitions all the time. But I'm going to tell you guys these dreams. I know Chris is listening. Chris, you're going to call me or message me after the show and tell me what you think this is all about. You know which Chris. All right. So I had a dream that Makiva was in court again. Well, no surprise there. I mean, that would be, just another week in his life probably. But this time it was total chaos. It was weird because in the courthouse, there was chaos. And normally there's no chaos in court. I'm going to tell you, the judges and magistrates, and you got security and the, what do you call the bailiffs? Everybody runs a very, very tight show there. You don't go to court and misbehave because they'll throw you behind in jail. But this time it was chaos. And I was at the media table. Wendy Ledger was there. There's one other person there. I think a guy, maybe Alric. Like I couldn't quite, in the dream, he wasn't that identifiable, but definitely Wendy was there. And I was taking my notes and I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. It was another sexual assault allegation, but this time it was a special needs person. And I was so disturbed at the fact that this, but again, the jurors being who they are when it's a certain individual, they look like they were just going to let him walk again and they weren't really paying attention. And then the victim had a moment where she started to break down and stuff, and she left the courtroom. They had to call a break. And then I was walking around in town. Oh my God, this dream was so detailed. I could tell you exactly where I walked in town. Then another part of the dream, I was like, okay, I'm going to go home and then come back to court later. Right. So, and I had an office space in town. I know why I'm dreaming about that. But then I ended up at home. And there was a baby. Marlon came with this baby. Somebody's baby that he had, wasn't his, but it was like a big baby, Caucasian baby. And he's like, oh, I somehow got stuck with babysitting. That would be him, honey child. And I was like, oh, okay. My daughter was here in the house. Miss Stacy was here. But this baby was the fattest baby. She was so fat. Like when I picked her up, I started to support her head, but I'm like, why is this baby so big? And I was like, okay. So I held the baby for a little bit, and then he was going to go back and return the baby to the parents. And so I was like, okay, let me put the baby back in her car seat. But she didn't want to go in the car seat. She kept like fighting. And I was like, oh, no, shh, you got to stay in your car seat, And so I was like trying to strap her back in. And then all of a sudden, my sister, this dream was all over the damn place, if you ask me. My sister was in my house. The sister that I don't really talk to, that's like dead to me. That one. And I said, what is she doing in here? And so Miss Stacy's like, oh, I don't know. Like she came in. I said, Miss Stacy, we have enough security around here, right? When the door rings, all you have to do is ask Alexa to show you the doorbell, and you can talk to the person through any of the Alexa devices. Don't you ever let her in my house. I had to kick her out of my house. I'm like, get out right now. Get out of my house and don't come back. And I'm like triple locking the doors. And so it was very, very detailed. And then I was like, okay, I got to get back to court because they're going to be restarting. The break is over. It was all of, I don't know what numbers you're going to be playing, honey child, because this is all over the place. Maybe the baby, because maybe you play Makiva's age. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a numbers person, but maybe you play his age, and then you play whatever is for a big, fat, plump baby. What does a big, fat, plump baby mean? Is that like a good sign? Well, I sure hope so. Anyway, let's move on. So, it's an eclectic show. What can I tell you? So the observers, no, thank you. Okay. Jim is like, did you drink wine? Did you eat late at night? I tell you, I have these dreams all the time. So Tartarian says, can you expect any better from them? Look at the mess the UK's in. So listen, I think that allowing these people to vote, obviously they can participate in the process that way, but actually allowing them to run for public office? No, Bobo. There's something to be said for an individual who has a dishonesty offense. Like, I agree that that goes to the core. Now, mind you, we've got people in there who don't actually have a conviction, but they're still dishonest as hell. So we don't need people who are convicts for stealing and etc. to then be up in government trying to run government and stuff. Lord Jesus, no. We ain't fooling with that. Oh, we got a call. Why am I not hearing it? I should be hearing this call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
I can hear you loud and clear, though. Good morning, honey champ.
Good morning. If you want to mark a dream in the work where I from, and you can mark it when you dream baby, look out for have a problem with somebody.
For having a what, sorry?
Like fight with somebody.
Oh.
Baby is problem. So when you dream baby, is problem coming. Sorry, and when I dream baby, when I dream like a snake, you know, some enemies around.
Well, child, they're always around.
When you like, you know, so one time I remember dreaming I was in a bed with a big snake and I had a big problem. So, you know, when you dream baby, when you people know when you dream fish, someone of your young girl is pregnant, when you dream baby, is problem. So I mark my dream, like when I dream baby, I know problem is coming.
Lord Jesus.
So I look out for it. So
okay.
You might have an argument or a fight or somebody might attack you. You know,
they better know.
Well, as I said, because your dream was so clear.
Oh my gosh! Yes, lots of details.
Yeah. You know, you should prepare for something to happen, and if it happened, then you said, "Oh, well, when I dream this is what does happen." So you go to your whole and listen out, you know what you've been going to and see if it's true. So then, you know, they say you mark your dream again.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, darling. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Somebody says those green mangoes I've been eating, which I did have some last night. So anything's possible. Oh, y'all know I love me a green mango with salt and pepper, honey chow. And I got some this week. I was so thrilled because I thought mango season was over, but some of your trees are still blooming late. Someone says I was cringing thinking your dream was a wet one. Stop eating so many damn green mangoes, especially at night, says this person. Anyway, yes, I dream most nights, and I do have very vivid and detailed dreams, but that one last night was really extra. But don't y'all be trying to pick no fights with me. I'm going through my peaceful season these days. Just leave me alone. Oh, Lord have mercy. What a mess. Let me put on some lip balm. I like these. Which one is this? This is Blistex. My poor lips always cracking and peeling. Gotta keep them moisturized. Anyhow, so yeah, the election observers, I don't know where they came up with this idea from. They claim that, you know, they're reviewing restrictions that prevent persons who were convicted from running for parliament. So currently anyone who's sentenced to more than 12 months in prison for any offense or convicted of any offense involving dishonesty are permanently disqualified from becoming MPs for life. And so you do have the criminal record convictions law, which allows a person to get their record expunged after a period of being crime-free. And that is excluded, however, for the purposes related to election disqualification. And a lot of people, you know, we've been over this numerous times, and there's still people who don't know that. So of the 224 incarcerated individuals in the Cayman Islands during the election, only 2 were eligible to vote, and both declined despite voter education being provided in the facility. You can imagine only 2 of them could vote and they still didn't care to vote. Well, that shows how they just don't care. So I don't know how many people this would impact, to be honest, but given the number of people that we have running for elected office every single time, I don't think there's any shortage of people running. I think there's shortage of quality people running that we would want to vote for. So women only make up 26% of the representation in parliament. Now that we need more of. We need more qualified women running for political office. Listen, we make up over 50% of the population. We should be over 50% of the representation in parliament as well, as far as I'm concerned. But we got a long ways to go yet. So I think that I don't know if the governor's office is listening. Please go back and tell your recommenders, your election observers, that this particular set of recommendations we're not very interested in. Okay. We will leave the dishonest people exactly where they are. You're trying to open Pandora's box even more. You're just asking for trouble. That's madness. Under no circumstances do we want that. Keep it to yourself. Lord have mercy. Miss Mark has some numbers that y'all can be trying on Sunday. Cayman Kind says, are you encouraging people to buy numbers? No, I would never encourage you to break the law. But if you're in Miami and you need some lottery tickets, well, it's not illegal over there. So go knock yourself out. Win the lotto. Cayman Kind says, dreaming about fish is a direct pregnancy for a family member. Well, thank God I didn't dream about that. Melita says, San, that dream only means that we're going into overtime today, you know. Lord Jesus. Connie says, when I get these types of dreams, I just bust upon a Psalms, blood coverage over you, Sandy Hill. Lord have mercy. Somebody else said, yes, that caller's right. When you dream about babies, really? I thought baby would be a good dream. Aw. Thank you, Irvelyn. She says your hair is growing back nicely. Debbie says your hair never looked better. Fabulosity. We want a woman premier. Well, we had one, womanish, but nobody wanted her. She would have been the last person that we would have probably have picked as premier. I got to be honest with you. So we want a quality woman premier someday. Yes. All right. Big fat babies. What do you say? A big fat trouble is coming my way. Lord Jesus. Take the wheel. Take the wheel. I'm so zen these days, but I'll still cuss you. Okay, let's move on. Elio, Fulio. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's the big fat cry baby. Wah, wah, wah. What is up with Elio? Elio and Austin. All right. Oh, your tree got mangoes on it. Mine blooming very late and both loaded. But what kind of mango tree that is? That kind of looks like my local long mangoes. And I love them just like that. Green and turn on the inside. If that's what it is, you better hook me up with some. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, I better stop eating mangoes. Because when I go take my A1C test, that doctor can be like, what you been eating? So another person says, good morning, Mrs. Hill. The lady on the radio is correct with what she's telling you about your dream. I know your mom's birthday celebration is coming up, so your dream may be alerting you to an argument that might ensue there, which hopefully will not happen. Oh my God. If that's the case, I may not go. I mean, I hate to say it, but I really, I want to avoid family, some family members as much as possible. And if they're going to be there, you know, I'm going to ask my other sister who's invited and who's going to be there. Cause I'm sorry. I hadn't really thought about this, but I would rather not go. Now I know that sounds horrible, but I'm going to wish her a happy birthday from a distance. Yes, I would rather not go. Oh boy. You just made me think of that. That's coming up here shortly. Oh Lord. Now you've given me a reason to pause. Maybe I'd go before, give a hug and a kiss and leave really quickly and just don't hang around. Strong Will says this is Marlon having a baby outside the You must have think Marlon's stupid. I'm wondering, Desert Rose, because she was in that same part of the dream. Like after I dealt with the baby, then she appeared and she can't step on my property. So I was like, what the hell? All right. I'm going to mull this over later on. All right. What a hot mess we're in. So, yes, that's all I'm going to say about the election observers. They need to do a little bit better with certain things. A little bit clueless. All right, let's move on to Fulio. Elio. I ran into a lady at the grocery store the other day. She made me laugh. She said, what is wrong with that fool, Elio? I don't know what do him. And I was like, listen, I don't really listen to their show. Sometimes you guys tell me they're talking nonsense. I don't think too many people listen to their show, to be honest. Their numbers are very, very low. And I'm not trying to, make them look bad because obviously they're part of the Bobo family. But in the vein of honesty and keeping them honest, keeping them all honest, they don't have any level of engagement. Now, I'm very, very surprised that no one seems to really watch them on Facebook, because Facebook for Cayman is still our biggest platform, our biggest social media platform. Instagram is coming along and doing well, but most people actually are on Facebook and YouTube. And so when we go to their Straight Talk Facebook page, we can see that literally, we're going to go there right now just to have a quick look-see. Nobody is watching them. So, there's always an argument when someone is in the space of radio. They're like, oh, but everybody's listening on radio. No, everybody does not listen on radio. What's their show called again? Straight Talk. Straight Talk. Cayman. Okay, let's see if we can find it. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Oh, yes, here they are. All right, so Kenneth Bryan is on their show. Is he there every Thursday now? I'm not sure, but let me show you. Okay, let's bring it up on the screen. So here they are, Straight Talk with, my original talk show is called Straight Talk. Your voice, your platform. We're clearly not. Clearly it's their voice, their platform, and nobody's watching. So they've got, 4.4 thousand followers. That's not too bad. But the weird thing is, despite having all these followers, nobody's watching. So, 66 views from yesterday, 224 views the day before, 144 5 days ago, 198 a week ago. Like, they don't seem to be going over, some days not even 100 views, but definitely the average is 100 and change. Wow. That's really something. The most they've ever had is 169, looks like. 178 one day. That was the record. When you have 4.4 thousand followers and so little views, that's really not good. All right, let's have a look at YouTube, because I think they get a few more on, oops, is this where I'm at? No, YouTube up here. All right. I think they get a few more on YouTube. So let's see, Straight Talk. Okay, man, there it is. This is it here. 153 views, 383 months ago. 83 views, 88 views, 112 views, 127, 81, 98. So nobody is watching them hardly. I mean, these numbers are really poor. Now, I do have a theory about this, and I'm going to break it down for you. And I'll tell you what. Ay, caramba. So there's a couple things that's going on here. Number one, Caymanians are funny people. Y'all know this already. In other words, when when Caymanians are done with you politically, they kind of don't want to see you anywhere else, Okay, let's follow this through. When you have someone who's voted out of office, like the people have really said, bye-bye, see you later, we're done with you. Then you try to relaunch a career in media, because there have been some of these politicians, that's how they've got their start. We've got Kenneth, Elio, Austin, who else started out in radio or entertainment and then got elected. Who else am I thinking? Is there anybody else? There's somebody else. But anyway, there's been a handful of them. But my observation is once they go in, most of them have been one-hit wonders. Kenneth obviously has had more than one term, but once they go in and then the people say, okay, we're done, we're voting you out, they don't have the support of the people. And this is an anomaly, I must tell you, that is different with Sabrina. She didn't lose by no big margin, 15 votes. Jonathan Piercy, somebody mentioned him. But Sabrina is a very different situation. She's still relevant. And the interesting thing about Sabrina, she's the only person. She's the only person. She said she did radio and went into politics. Yeah, that's true. But she's the only person who was a minister and then got out and went back to radio. But her numbers prove that something very different is happening with her. Elio, Austin, Jonathan, even to a large extent, but he was never elected. Jonathan Piercy was never elected to public office. So I'm talking about people who were elected, then, were not successful. No one really wants to hear what they have to say. I mean, I hate to tell y'all, but this is the God's honest truth. I met with another MP. I'm not going to say who he is. And he said to me before the last election, if I don't get it, I'm going to go into media and I'm going to be giving you competition. I don't know if he was trying to scare me, but I was like, okay. I said, well, can you show me an example of where someone has done that and been successful? And then he was like, oh, okay. It's a special kind of formula that you need. So Sabrina has the support of the wonderful CMR family. We know we different. We special. Yes, we are. We're going to claim it and name it in the name of the good Lord. We're going to ride with each other into the sunset. The rest of them ain't nobody riding with no Fulio. So he has a bee in his bonnet and somewhere else, I'm sure of it, over the port. Listen here. The people have spoken on the port, resounding. I mean, if you needed any kind of other response or beating from the people on that port issue, we said no. Okay? And no is like a full sentence. You don't need no further debate or explanation. The people said, we don't want it. Sorry, but not sorry. So my understanding is he continues with his show to whine and moan and complain every opportunity he gets about the fact that, oh my God, you guys, well, you wanted to do this for the port, and now we're going to do the airport expansion. So why aren't you doing this? And it's just like, Elio, we're done with you. We don't care. The people spoke. You don't want to accept it. You don't want to listen. But the people spoke, and they spoke clearly. It was not a barely no. It was a big fat no. Get the picture. Now, ACT, who he works for, he's the chair of that organization. Apparently, they sponsored the show. So every single day they're on the ACT page. Nobody watches it there either. But I want to talk about some of the stuff that he's been saying, because he's been stirring up a little bit of controversy. Good for you, Elio. I mean, that's one way to certainly get people to listen, but I don't think they're still listening. They're reading your comments and then they're sending it to me and asking me all sorts of questions. So I'm going to talk about one specifically. Oh my God, he actually has on his profile, past member of parliament at the Cayman Islands government. Is that a job, being a past member? Well, I take that off of your thing. That's nothing to be proud of. Okay, then. Erkirks. So on July the 4th, let me screenshot this. He made a comment. And Jim says, sounds like he's beating the same old horse. Yes, honey child. And so he makes a comment about the NCFC. So remember now, that's the coalition government. Now, you guys might remember, I think we posted this. I'll double check the date. But we posted that there was a removal of the Turtle Farm board, and he used to be the board chairman at the Turtle Farm. Let me just see if I can find this. Turtle Farm. When did we post this on CMR? So we put the new board appointment, and basically he was removed. And I'm sure he was removed because his tenure was up. So I'm going to talk about that here this morning. Well, the proper name is Turtle Center. So let me see if I can put in the proper name. Turtle. So I think this happened sometime last month, maybe. Anyway, the board was the board chair and somebody else was replaced, and he was the board chair. And I think there was another member that was also up, right? So I think that his comments, which he posted here, which we're going to discuss, is all about him, again, being in his feelings. I can't find the post, but I'm pretty sure I posted it up because I did have it. Who was he replaced with? I think Bud Johnson. Is it Bud Johnson? I think so. Anyway, so he's all up in his feelings, and he put out this huge post about the NCFC. What do they call themselves? Bud Johnson, I think. I'm trying to find the post. Oh, I can't find it. Anyway, he was replaced. I know that for sure. So let me just see something here now. So he put up this post. Let's read it. He says, Straight Talk, July the 4th, 2025. Straight Talk has received credible information from multiple sources indicating that the National Coalition for Caymanians, NCFC, government is advancing a policy that would prevent any individual who ran against a sitting NCFC government member from serving on government boards or holding any politically appointed role. If true, such a policy is a serious breach of the standards in public life and represents an unethical act of victimization. It undermines the core principles of democratic governance and equal opportunity. Worse, it points to corrupt attempt to consolidate power and silence opposing voices. Wow, this is so strongly worded. Elected officials swear an oath to serve the people of the Cayman Islands, not to protect their re-election chances. The country's boards and advisory bodies should reflect a diversity of thought, experience, and competence, not party loyalty. Straight Talk has also learned that 2 failed candidates from the Caymanian Coalition Party, TCCP, have been appointed as political assistants to the premier. Mr. Anthony Ramoon, former candidate for Georgetown Central, Ms. Natasha Whitelock, former candidate for Red Bay. Additionally, Mrs. Pilar Moxham Nee Bush has been hired as a political assistant, bringing the total number of assistants serving the premier to 3. This concentration of appointment raises serious concerns about favoritism, political stacking, yes, sir, and the use of public resources for partisan purposes. Straight Talk will continue to investigate these developments and urges the public to remain vigilant and engaged. Caymanians deserve a government that serves all of the people, not just those who support the ruling party. This is Straight Talk. Ooh, let's get into some real straight talk, honey child, because what you put here is just a bunch of foolio nonsense. All righty, let's break it down. First and foremost, we're going to talk about board appointments. Yes, ma'am? Food? Who's knocking at my door? Fee, fi, fo, fung. Yes, how can I help you? Zeus is in the room at Gigi. You can't find Zeus? Look underneath the bed because I left him in there. Zeus still sleeping, child. He's like, walk? Not me. I'm sleeping in today. I left him in the room, so he's still there. She's like, she can't find Zeus to take him for a walk. Anywho, listen, Elio. First of all, you're trying to call out the TCCP and the NCFS for something that historically is sort of true. I'm going to give him, it's not a policy that all of a sudden the TCCP has jumped up and done. There is some truth to it, but it makes logical sense. I'm going to explain it to y'all, okay? Of course, who else are you going to have working as your political assistants and political advisors, but people you trust? Elio, this is why you have gotten that name, Fulio. Because there's certain things, despite you thinking you're so incredibly intelligent, there are certain things that you say that make zero sense at all, okay? And you know, as a former MP, that what you're saying is pure nonsense. Oh, yes, you do. Why would you pick someone to be your political assistant who ran against you as is an opposing party, or doesn't see the vision that you have for this country and can carry out your directives. Where would that make sense anywhere in the world? They're not a civil servant. It's a political appointment. Now, you see, he thinks that we are stupid. That's the assumption when he writes something like this. And some of you have been forwarding to me like, oh my God, is this true? Calm down, because I'm going to give you by way of examples this morning why this is something that nobody should be shocked at. It has happened before. And I'm going to give you two very, very recent examples. Recent, but not so recent. Let's take Barbara Connolly. Okay, let me get her position. So I'm going to use my little AI tools here to do a deep research. But Barbara Connolly worked for Kurt Tibbetts as a political assistant. All right. Let me tell you the position, because I can't remember the title that they gave her at the time. But she was his, hold on. AI still searching. It's don't find it. She was his political analyst or something. I don't know what title they gave her. Still searching. And so that was a political position. In 2005, she left the private sector, thank you, AI, to work for the Honorable D. Kurt Tibbetts, former leader of government business, as a political analyst, a role that involved constituency work on behalf of Mr. Tibbetts. Example number one. How is that any different? She wasn't running for political office at the time, but she was his right-hand woman, working in the party, working in the constituencies, PPM, Stallworth, whatever. And so she was rewarded with this position of political analyst. Your point is what? Let me give you another example. I'm actually going to give you more than I thought because they're coming back to me. Perlina. Hold on. Yeah, we coming to them, honey child. Yep, there's a whole list of them. Perlina McGaw Lumsden also held a similar position with McKeeva Bush. Now, sometimes they change the names slightly. So I'm going to ask AI to double check what year and stuff that was. Okay, so same thing, McKeeva Bush and Perlina. What's his name? Hold on, somebody just mentioned him. Frank Cornwall and Alden McLaughlin. Kurt, what's his name? No. I'm a friend there from Georgetown Central. Kenneth Bryan was political assistant as well for Alden. That's also when he didn't get elected the first time. He was rewarded with that position. Roy Tatum. But the question is, who else would you put in that position? Fulio, what you're saying makes zero sense. Even the when the UPM government took over, Marshall, try and behave yourself. To my old Barbara was working all right. Behave. When Juliana O'Connor took over, she put in this guy named, what was his name again? From East End, some guy from East End. But he's always been a big supporter of Miss Julie. And she got rid of Pilar. She kept Nicholas because he's a Cayman Bracker. So I think she felt, if I get rid of him, them Brackers might be upset, Them DaCostas, that's a whole bunch of Brackers right there. So there is a whole bunch of them. That is nothing different. Daryl Rankin, thank you. So how is it different? I wait, Elio, for you to come up with a logical explanation for how that makes any sense. You're going to pick people who you trust, who you probably worked with in the past, who you know are your supporters, because these political assistants and analysts, they're supposed to be out there working on behalf of the government's objectives and trying to get that done. Now, to the premier's credit, What I will say, at least he has picked individuals who are qualified to do something. I'm just saying. I mean, Natasha Whitelock is well qualified professionally. And so is Mr. Anthony Ramon, who was with SEMA for over 20 years. Some people have been selected. Frank Cornwall, does the man even have a high school diploma? What position paper do you think Frank Cornwall ever advanced? Exactly. He would just show up to the party politics and hand out a plate of food. He wasn't qualified to do anything. And yet we, the people, were paying him because they get paid out of the public purse, make no two bones about it. We were paying him to do what exactly? Nothing. Well, Kenneth Bryan was doing such an amazing job in the constituency that Alden McLaughlin got jealous that he was taking votes away from him and fired him and got rid of him. I'm just stating the facts, y'all. And there've been countless others over the years. I'm sure I can't remember them all. So that is nothing different and unusual. But by him highlighting it in this bit of misinformation piece here, he tries to give this certain, viewpoint that is completely erroneous. Talking about, Straight Talk will continue to investigate these developments. Child, go take several seats in the studio. Take several seats. One of these days, I want Straight Talk to invite me on their show so I can just go head to head with them and top them on their little behind and put them in their place. Y'all, it's just sour grapes. And we don't really care. But I have to address it because so many people have been sending it to me like, oh my God, you see this? I can't believe TCCP and NCA. I'm like, calm the hell down. It ain't all of that. Let's look at what else he said. So you see how that bit is pure nonsense. He took a little dig at Pilar, which I found interesting, and it did make me chuckle. Mrs. Pilar Moxham Kneebush. First of all, you know Pilar not married to Moxham, okay? That is not her name. Her name is Pilar Bush. Put some respect to the woman's name. You don't get to come for her, okay? Once again, a professional in her own right, lots of experience. If some of you, now I know she has a different personality. Some of you tell, her personality too much. Well, whatever. Y'all always have an issue with women whose personalities are too much. Normally that means that they're more intelligent than you, they're harder working than you, and they're going to bring it to the table, and y'all can't take it. Listen, what I know is the woman not lying on her back to get no position, huh? She's working hard. So if she rubs you the wrong way sometimes, get over it. You'll be fine. But to insult her, and I'm not trying to put Moxham down, don't get me wrong here. Where's my brownie friend? But he knows that that isn't her name. And so when someone purposely calls you something that they know is not your name, that is the height of disrespect. I know a certain person who does that to me all the time. He's been dating my friend for like 12, 13 years, my BFF, my very good friend. And every time this man sees me, he calls me everything but, Samantha, Sarah, shush, all kind of foolish names. And I just, I'm at the point now where I just look at him because my name is Sandra. You can call me Sandy, you can call me Sandra, but why the hell are you calling me Samantha? You've known me for 13 years, Bobo. Miss Sharon. Those are not Freudian slips. That is you trying to get under my skin. And I just look at him and smile because he's not even worth it. You weren't worth the 13 years with my friend either, truth be known. I'm just telling you. But anywho, there are people who will purposely disrespect you in this way. It's petty. It's childish for big men in their 50s to be acting like this, but this is what they do. You know her name, not no Pilar Moxham Kneebush. Her name is Pilar Bush. I mean, seriously. So yes, she's actually not political analyst. They haven't made the announcement yet, but I do believe she is, what was her title before with Mr. something strategist. Oh Lord. Okay, hold on. Let me see here now. I gotta rely on AI to remind me. Oh, this one I can just look on Cayman Mall Road because I know we would have done the story at the time. 1 second, Pilar. Strategist joins Premier's office, Chief of Strategy. So I'm sure that's probably her same title now. They've taken her back. Miss Julie didn't want her. So she ended her contract early after Miss Julie took over. And now, Andre sees what she's capable of doing and he wants her back. Once again, she was in the position already. So what's the problem? Oh, he has a problem with the fact that the Premier has a total of 3 people assisting him. Let us roll back a little bit. And Fulio, I need you to tell me how many people did the Honorable Sir Alden McLaughlin have assisting him? He had more than that. Hold on. I'm gonna pull it out here today. You wait for this. Right in the Premier's office. And one of those people was an expat working in the UK, not even a Caymanian. It's so funny because I certainly don't see you having anything to say about that when that was going on. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And they all do different things and they play a different role. So what's the issue, Mr. Sour Grapes? Because this government has decided to listen to the people as it relates to the port. You're all up in your feelings about it. You're really nitpicking, I think, on the wrong thing. So he wants to talk about, well, this concentration of appointments raises serious concerns about favoritism, political stacking, and the use of public resources for partisan purposes. Really? Step back again. So when the UPM government got in and they promoted McKeeva Bush again to permanent secretary, wow. And they gave him a company vehicle and they gave him a government vehicle, my apologies, one of those Tahoes. And they gave him a PA, that girl, whatever her name is, no qualifications, no nothing. Were you complaining about waste of public funds there? Public resources? Did you complain about public resources when that same government went out in 2023 and bought all of these Tahoes that were simply not needed? I'm just curious. Because we didn't waste our public resources on a port, you're now going to talk about, well, there's a concern here about this. When we're giving $100,000 to churches with no accountability, when we're adding millions of dollars to the budget for Radio Cayman with zero accountability, when we're giving all this money to Truth for Youth School with no accountability, when you have people at Turtle Farm, where you were the chairman, stealing government money, misusing public funds, and doing the most, I once again ask you, where were your concerns about public resources at that time? Maybe Ilya was the big fat baby that was coming my way, because I have to address this ridiculous accusation here today. You see, you can't make these comments against this particular group simply because you don't like them. You have to be fair in your assessment of the situation. Let me turn now to some of your comments, and then I'm going to come back to the situation with the board appointments. All right. So this person said, did you hear about a video going around where they're beating old lady? Yes, I know all about that. I'm going to talk about that briefly. Yes, I have it and I know all about it. And I actually know the true story because some of y'all got the story all conflated and mixed up. Don't forget that Gilbert was a co-host on a show. I mean, you clearly did, but he was also a minister. Oh, I forgot about Mr. Gilbert. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fulio and Austin were outside Kirk Market handing out flyers for their show. You should have seen clearly annoyed Fulio was when people just shook their heads and declined to take the flyers. Wow. Handing out flyers? No way. Now I haven't seen people do that in a hot minute. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you can't get people to listen, pulling out all the stops. I mean, they've had some guests on. So they've had Mr. Roy Bodden, only a handful of people were listening, and Mr. Roy normally pulls a crowd. They have had, Kenneth on. Nobody's listening. I think perhaps what you need to do, someone said, well, you got the fat one out of the dream. Austin, maybe. Aw, leave Austin alone. Hot mess. So I mean, if you're not getting the listenership, perhaps you need to take a look at the man in the mirror. That's all I'm going to say. Handing out flyers is not, just get a clue. Get a clue that no one is interested. Okay? Because you lack something which I say is important. You lack integrity. You lack genuineness. And that cannot be forged. It can't be faked. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And Fulio, you're done fooling people completely. I'm just saying. We see you for who you are. Now, Austin, not for nothing, but I do have to address you as well. Now, generally speaking, I like you. You're my buddy in a way. Me and you not got no beef, but I'm still going to have to speak the truth about it today. Okay? I said when he's running for public office, give him a chance. Austin is a bit of an enigma. He is an intelligent person, no doubt. He's actually a very hardworking person. His biggest mistake when he went into public office was he fell in line. He sat on radio for years, giving us on, what was it called? What's the name of the show again? Crosstalk, giving us the truth, or so we thought, giving us a certain position, especially as it relates to the port. And then when he got in with this coalition government with the progressives, he flipped on us. And people don't like people who are flipping and flopping and with no sufficient explanation for the flip, except that all of a sudden, the team, the progressives, told you to get in line. They were promising you that eighth ministry. You remember you and I had a conversation because I said to you, I said, and this is where it gets really, really rich now, This was in the early days. I want to say, CMR started in 2017 after the election. And so it was probably around the time that I was starting CMR. And in fact, Austin was one of my first guests that I had right there in Pasadena Place. He came and we talked and, so he was supportive in that way. But I remember saying to him, I said, listen, you've got to organize your political office and you really have to do it right because otherwise you're going to be a one-hit wonder. And I said, let me know if you need my help. I'm happy and willing to help. Listen to how rich this is now. He comes back and says to me, well, Alden and I are going to team up and have an office. Alden never had an office, so that never came to fruition. But they were going to team up and have an office. And well, the progressives don't like you. Alden don't like you. And so unfortunately, I can't have you work with me. Excuse me, what did Fulio just say about political stacking, favoritism, and so on for partisan purposes? Come again? And I was just going to provide as a business person these services to them, not free of charge, of course, it comes with a fee. But I was told, no, we can't utilize your business because I'm going to now be aligning with Alden. They were supposed to get an office. He told me they were supposed to get an office down in Grand Harbor. That never happened. And, Alden was going to run the show and decide who to put in the office. And of course, it's all politics. He's going to put his own supporter. So I was like, okay, Austin, no problem. Mm-hmm. And so Alden put Austin in there, yes, to be his little lackey, to try and convert people on the whole port issue and to do whatever he said. And when it came time to vote, the people were not happy at all. So they said, Bobo, you gotta go. And remember, he tried to run on their platform as independent, but running with them. So again, what Elio has said makes zero sense. It's ridiculous. Now, I asked someone, oh yes, Richard Parchment under UDP. There's tons of them. Thank you so much, Miss Lisa. Frank is dumb as a stone, says Strongwill. Well, not only that, and I'll give it to you that he's no intellectual, none at all, far from it, but he's out here not paying child support for a young child that he has, smoking pot, marijuana with the woman, all of this while being the political assistant to Alden McLaughlin. Come on now. I know one thing for sure. We're not going to have, and I'm not swearing for nobody, let's make that clear, but it would be doubtful that Natasha Whitelock, Pilar Bush, and Mr. Ramon are going to be out in the streets carrying on with this kind of foolishness, being hauled to court for non-payment of child support and all this kind of stuff. That's Frank Cornwall. But yet he was still political assistant, and the people of the Cayman Islands were paying him money, and he was still out here dodging his child support obligations for a Caymanian child, no less, that he had with some little 20-year-old young lady. And he big man up in his 50s, 60s. Yeah, I'm just saying. Speaking of him, someone called me this week, Frank Cornwall. We want to know where you got $240,000 or $250,000 cash to go buy property up in Frank Sound. Because we know that you don't have it. So the question on the streets is, does the Popo need to be looking into this transaction for $250,000 for this property in Frank Sound? Anti-corruption unit, come this way. Come on, walk on through. Mm-hmm. Lisa Pendergast, good morning, honey child, says all political groups have had political advisors for the past 25 years. It was not like that in the 80s and 90s. Good morning, ma'am. Blair, hello, honey child, says Fulio is the worst. He literally thinks he knows everything and talks like he is a preacher of life. I'm with the man from Scranton. Oh my God, I gotta find that video again. The man from Scranton was like, let me see, do I still have it? Oh my gosh, I gotta find it. He was like, well, the two use is washed up wannabes. Oh Lord, I have got to find that. That was so hilarious. Character matters, says Miss Pat. It sure does. UDP had Richard Parchment, Kenneth Ebanks a few years back. Smith Campbell says, yes, Sandy, men who exhibit feminine traits is a very serious issue. What? What are you talking about? I wasn't talking about that. What men that exhibit feminine traits? I have not talked about that at all. And I'm not having that conversation because I'm not sure what that has to do with what I'm talking about. And then again, nothing to do with the price of rice in China. Or when did the funding, or where did the funding went to for the BTF? What a beautification committee? Is that what that is? Buenos dias, Miss Alba. Smith Campbell says politicians flip-flopping sounds like they stock and trade all day, every day. Good morning, Miss Sophia. Good morning to Miss Joyce San. Frank had property in Rock Hole. Probably he sold it. $250,000? I don't think so. Cash? Not coming from the bank? I don't think so. Somebody better just research that and double check. Good morning. Let me see. Somebody says the studio looks dark. I think you had more lighting before. And yes, this is so true about Austin. He was all for the people when he was on radio, but once he got in office, he was dormant. I lost all respect for him from then. Thanks again for all you do, Sandy, and do know that you are much appreciated. Oh, they said the setting for their work phone is different than their personal phone. You're looking great from my phone settings. No need to change anything. All right. So Laurel and Hardy. Oh my God, you guys are too funny. He also assaulted a woman publicly, speaking now about Austin. So the credibility issue runs deep for those who remember this, as some selectively forgot. And yes, I mean, not for nothing. He said he has gotten help. The one thing I must say about Austin, is that he was willing to cop to it. Well, that's because everybody saw it. He was at a function. He was dating that police PR lady, whatever, and assaulted her at a party. Lots of media people there because it was some media function or something. But anyway, he ended up copping to it and said that he got help for that. He got help for excessive drinking, et cetera, et cetera. But he has a known history, and that wasn't the only individual. He has a known history of being aggressive with women. And so, he said he's gotten help for that, for those anger issues. And hopefully that's the case, because we can't, in this community, I can't be a talk show host as a woman and sit back and not recognize that we have men in power who beat women badly and have gotten away with it for far too long, because they've had other politicians and other former politicians who will go and bail them out of jail and get the authorities and the police and even the victims themselves to turn a blind eye. So the truth speaks. Mm-hmm. All right. Was Frank Cornwall an owner of a construction business once upon a time? I have no clue. I don't know what he ever did. I think he had put in a bid for some stuff with government as well. So maybe, I don't know. One hit wonder, says this person. That's what he called them. Said they need to rename that show. It was hilarious. Oh yeah, the little guy. All right, so here are all the people that Alden had working for him. He had Roy Tatum, Tammy Chisholm, Julie that used to work at Flow. Julie, I can't remember her last name now. What was Julie's last name again? Julie, I might even still have her in my phone. Julie, oh Lord, no, I don't have her anymore, I think. Anyway, she worked at Flow at one point in communications. Frank Cornwall and the UK consulate Carrion. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had at least 5 people working for him. Julie Hutton, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, Julie Hutton, that's right. And so once again, I beg the question to Fulio, what on earth are you talking about? You weren't talking about accountability and fiscal management then, especially when Alden and the PPM loves to spend money and loves to overbuild in capital projects. So come. All right. Marshall says that old house that Frank lived in Rock Hole is not worth $250,000. And here's the thing. If you sold it, that's a bank transaction. The person puts the money in the bank, and then you write it, you get a bank draft for a new property. How are you paying cash for property in Frank Sound? That don't something not adding up. That the bank would be asking for source of funds and all sorts of stuff. Oh God, Miss Lucy says, Miss Stacy, where are you with the fried bread, fruit, and plantain, please? Hurry, give Sandra her break fast. Actually, now that you mention it, I am hungry. Miss Stacy, hook me up with something, honey chow. I think we got some right plantain and breadfruit for true. What do we have for meats? Any little sausage or anything? Javid, good morning, says some people, I don't know why I'm not hearing the phone ring, but I'm seeing it come in, which is weird. But anywho, good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Hi.
First word to you is to say thank you. I sent you some names, but you didn't get it.
Oh, yes, I read those out.
You shared the initial. I just put the initials, but they were all of them, and then you added the other two.
Oh, so who's AW?
Alfonso Wright.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. How could I forget Alfonso?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
oh, yes, honey child, stick a pin.
Yes.
Stick a
Because
pin.
I'm a civil servant, I know exactly how
Yes,
it works.
because they even, yes, and they even created a job for Alfonso.
Exactly. But listen, it's very important for ministers to have, they've started that. I see good things about it and I see bad things about it because a lot of it does go for political favors and of course that's more money out of your budget. And if you can handle it in your budget, your actual vote is creating money to keep them on, that's fine. If it's not going to be sucking into the money that we need to continue running the country. And you're not giving concessions and making sure that we're bringing in something to handle that. That's fine. But it's very important that you have those kind of people on your side. Remember, as a politician and as a minister of a ministry, you need to have eyes in the front, the side, and the back. When you're driving overseas or even here in Cayman, you don't just have to have eyes on both sides, but you have to have in front on both sides. The reason for this is because many of them have more than one subject. And it should not be that way. And I want to say this as well. We have a lot of testosterone running in cabinet. And we have only one with estrogen, meaning Catherine. And I do believe that we need to balance that. I do believe Ms. Julie Hunter and both Heather. Yes, let her sit there and get the experience. Now, I'm going to say this about Pilar. Pilar is a brilliant young woman. She was there in tourism, and she would have been a great asset to Gary Ruddy. Let me tell you, she would have been an excellent asset to him. The reason they need these people is, like I said, because they need to have people. Because let me tell you something. There's a chessboard that is being played when you're in a ministry. Okay, it's a big chess. And in that, there's one king that chief officers answer to. And I'm not going to go down and call his name because you already know who that was, because yesterday we were talking about that. Okay? That king is who holds the keys to that chessboard, not the minister. Ministers believe all the time that these chief officers have their back. But no, they can sell themselves to the highest bidder, because I saw what happened previously in a few years ago. Okay, once that money comes on board, they're willing to do whatever they need to be done, and they answer only to that king that's on the chessboard. The bottom line is we need to have that balance. The only thing I would like to see this government do is address some of the stuff we were talking to. Have that amnesty for civil servants. Find civil servants that have been working hard. Again, I want to just give you a few, like Elaine McLean, like Drew Conley, like Heidi Wallace, who was the HR officer who stood with me and was bullied as well, that she had to leave. And she had been trained by the previous chief officer when I was going through all of the crap. So don't just hear my words, hear it from a very qualified and very seasoned HR officer that stood with me and knew what was happening was wrong. But the bottom, because it was all politics. But anyway, bottom line, it wasn't just what was happening there, it was coming from the PBN. I know all about it. I know what happened. I know exactly who was carrying on to whatever. What they don't know is the trader that was in the middle of it. But anyway, bottom line, what I'm going back is to how
we do have another caller, so just wrap it up for me.
Are very, very important.
Yes.
To keep them balanced. And what I would like to see this government do is to definitely have those assistants create committees in there, because each one of those ministries are carrying 4 and 5 different subjects to handle, and it's not feasible for them to carry on and handle everything correctly. And at the end, the 4 years creeps up and something has been left behind. So I would implore this government to bring on Ms. Julie in cabinet. I would also like to see Ms. Heather in cabinet, balance it, and give them some of the subjects, because they can be guided, they need to learn, we voted them in, have that extra balance, because Sandra, we need women. It's going to look at how women are being handled compared to men. Men handle these things differently. Women do things differently. And this is what I would implore my premier, okay, there's a very brilliant guy, and others that are there to balance that situation, because they need having groups and committees that are going to go out there and work. Because if they believe that Friday is enough to go there and meet the constituents and get things done, the next 4 years, they will be out. Because people are not going to get what they need done in that just one Friday. You need to have committed this on the ground.
Thank you.
You're going to do what you want and get it done.
Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
All right, there. Next caller. Sorry, do call back. And somebody said, give Lisa her own show. Come on, folks. Javid having a good laugh. All right, 936-2626. That's the telephone number. I just realized I wrote the wrong number on my thing this morning. 936. Oh, I put 926. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Let me edit it. 936 at 2626 is el número de teléfono. Okay, honey chill. So, yes, all of this is very, very logical, and it shows a degree of saltiness that, quite frankly, you just got to get over yourselves, Austin and Elio. Like I said, it's not a good look. All right, let me see what else we got here. Okay, so someone has sent some information that's very, very interesting about how Premier staff normally works. And so I'm going to read this in part in terms of their staff complements and what they have available to them in many other places in the world. He's but one man. So I think the point that the last caller is making is, you have to have proper support in place. The other thing that's significant to note here is that the caller was saying, Miss Julie, Miss Heather, I do think it'd be nice if we had more women in cabinet. And I think the only way to have that is have more women elected to public office. However, if people, Miss Heather doesn't really want a cabinet position. That's not her. She's a worker bee. She's a behind the scenes kind of person. So yes, she's permanent secretary. She doesn't mind that. And same thing with Miss Julie. Now, I have a theory, and I've said it numerous times. I'm going to say it again here because this is my personal opinion, but I have stuck by this. I think it is a grave mistake for a first-time elected member to take on a ministerial role. We have this government. They've done it. It's a grave mistake from the perspective of their own reelection. Go and have a look and test my theory and see those who have been elected and who took on a position, because a lot of times they do not have time to be in the constituency as a result of that, and they fail. Even they fail at reelection. Even Mr. Wayne Panton, same thing happened to him. He went in his first time and became a minister. And I'm not saying he didn't do good things as a minister. What I'm saying is it hurt him. It hurt him at the polls because there's only so much you can do as both a minister and a constituent representative. If you're not extremely well organized at the constituency level, you are going to have a problem. I'm just saying. Okay. So, people like, Gary Ruddy, this first time MP, deputy premier and minister. We have Michael Miles, minister, first time MP. So we'll see. We shall see. Somebody said what hurt Wayne was that legal bill. All right. Please note, dearest, that they're not permanent ministers or permanent secretaries. My apologies. Did I say permanent ministers? No, permanent secretaries. Yes. Okay. So part of why Elio is up in his feelings, let's go to the first thing that he says here. And then he uses image about board appointments, right? And so this concept that the NCF has somehow that they have a policy. This is what he says. He says, government is advancing a policy that would prevent any individual who ran against a sitting NCFS government member from serving on government boards or holding any political appointed roles. I think we've done sufficiently with the political appointed roles. Here again is a breakdown of what most prime ministers or premiers have access to within their office/cabinet. They'll have people there, right? That's their core staff. So some of them are civil servants and some are special advisors. Special advisors or political appointees or consultants who provide advice on policy, research, special project initiatives, and communications. So he'll have a press secretary, for example. Civil servants, they're the permanent staff that the elected officials are not supposed to be getting involved with in terms of they're nonpartisan, and they offer a level of expertise, having been in the service for a while. A chief of staff is often a key figure in the premier's office, managing the overall operations and coordinating activities. And I think that's the equivalent of here, the chief of strategy, which is the position that Pilar has held in the past. I can't confirm now what her new position actually is, but I'm sure in due course we should hear some details about that. They have private secretaries, personal assistants managing their schedule and communications, and other staff as well. Now, Fulio makes a complaint about boards and claims that they have this policy that they're advancing about boards. Now, let me say this. What I have already said about these other appointments equally stands for this concept of board members, and I'll tell you why. Once again, you cannot have board members appointed who would be in opposition to what the government's position is. That simply makes zero logical sense. So imagine if you had a board chairman who did not agree, because remember now these people have to meet with the minister, the boards meet with the minister, and the minister kind of guides them like, okay, this is where I'd like the port to be going. These are my areas of concern that I think that the board should be focusing and looking at, gives them broad directives and the government funding to be able to carry out those broad directives. Then the actual boards have the oversight of the organizations, not the operational day-to-day oversight. That's the civil servants, right? The people who work there. But they will then meet with the CEOs or MDs of these organizations and again, give them directions. They can fire, they're the ones who can fire the board chairman, not the board chairman. They're the ones who can fire the CEOs of organizations, et cetera. So we're waiting for the HSA board to make a decision as it relates to what happened at the HSA. That's a board that we need them to fire somebody, and probably more than one person. Hold some people accountable over there, right? So I say it again. I say it again. How does this make any sense? This isn't anything that's new. This isn't advancing a new policy that has never been done before. Every single government will choose people who are aligned with their positions. Now, presumably, if someone ran against them in an election, they may not be aligned. They may or may not be aligned with, their political position and where boards and statutory authorities and so forth should be going. It's crazy for Elio to say this because Elio knows better as someone who has sat on boards himself, as someone who has been in government. He knows better than this. He knows what he's saying is absolutely smoke screens and mirrors and full of inaccuracies and absolutely ridiculous. I don't get it. Right? The funny thing is, though, there have been, and I'm trying to think now off the top of my head, but help me out here. I'm trying to think of any instances where a person who was in opposition to the government was then placed on a board. Can somebody think of it? Give me one example. The last 25 years, doesn't matter which government. When has that happened? You know, it's hard for me to think of any. Marshall says saltiness and bitterness is what this show should be called. So help me out here. Anybody? I can't think of any. Nope, not ringing a bell. Time is up. I'm still waiting for an example. Sammy Jackson. Okay. He ran against Alden, but Alden, progressives didn't take the government. So he wasn't appointed by the progressives. He was appointed by the PAC government. So, no. I'm saying, show me an example of someone who ran in opposition to any government or any, group. Then they took the government, they're in power, and they actually put them on a board. It doesn't happen. And there's a very logical reason why it doesn't happen. There would be so much friction between that person and the government of the day, cabinet, the ministers, et cetera, et cetera. So Sammy did not run against the PAC government. He ran against Alden McLaughlin, and the progressives didn't take the government. You see what I mean, Anthony? So what he says just doesn't make any sense. So I've got an exhibit here, Exhibit A, Your Honor. And I'm going to show you what has Fulio all up in his feelings, why he's posting this absolutely ridiculous, that's the wrong one, sorry. Let me see now, remove that one. Yeah, there we go. Why he's posting this foolishness. It all has to do with this. Wednesday, June the 18th, he was replaced. Cabinet replaced him as the chairman of the Cayman Islands Turtle Conservation, as board of directors for the Cayman Turtle Conservation and Education Center Limited. He was removed as chairman. Vassal Johnson Jr. has been replaced as chairman, and Jessica Pollock is one of the directors. So this, folks, is why he is salty as hell, and why he decided to post up this nonsense about, they're not gonna put anybody on the board, advancing a policy that would prevent any individual who ran against a sitting NCFS government member from serving on government boards or holding any politically appointed role. That's what this is all about. Salty, bitter, and sour. Now, as far as I know, and I stand to be corrected, I can't say this with 100% certainty, but I'm about 90% sure. The reason why he would have been removed is because his board appointment, him and somebody else, it was obviously one other person, that's why Miss Jessica was put on there, that their appointment was expired. So, this government has not even had an opportunity to look at any board appointments as yet. What they have been doing is working on their SPS, their strategic policy statement. That's where the majority of their energy has been focused. And they've been doing some reforms in relation to that already. The vast majority of boards have not yet been touched unless the person is actually like the end of their appointment tenure is there. So what is wrong with Elio and Austin just sitting there shaking his head and going along with this nonsense and this foolishness? It simply doesn't make any sense. Number one, it doesn't make any sense because it's not true. And we have historical examples to disprove what this man is saying. So you are entitled, Elio. Let's have a coming to Jesus moment now. Come a little bit closer, and I'm going to try to actually confirm his appointment. Let me see when he was appointed. Solomon. Let me see. Okay, so he was appointed March 11th of 2024. What was I'm trying to see. Oh, I'm trying to see when. Trying to see what the tenure was for his thing. And it's so interesting though, because him as board chairman did make me wonder his position with ACT, the Association of Cruise Tourism. I always wondered, even during all of that, whether or not that would have been considered a conflict of interest. So I don't know, but I will see if I can find any information on his appointment. Okay, let me see if I can find that. All right, so listen, the bottom line, quite frankly, is this is what this boils down to. So, Elio, step up, come a little bit, come forward to the front of the class. You're entitled to your feelings. We all have them. Sometimes our feelings stop us from being logical and from thinking sensibly. But you're not entitled to your own truth. Okay? Yes, you can have feelings. You can be upset. You can think the government is being unfair. They've removed you off this position. I don't know what you're getting paid as board chairman, but I'm sure it's a couple $1,000s at least, and you're feeling salty, whatever. But you cannot just make things up that don't hold water, that are not going to pass the smell test. You know what I'm saying? Because you force truth tellers in the community to have to address it. Now, I have no intentions, my apologies, of talking about you and Elio, you and Austin, because, you're doing your own thing. You're Caymanians. I'm like, good luck. Do what you got to do. Knock yourselves out. But you want to be in this space, and you're free to do so, where you want to dabble still in politics, and you want to, do certain things, criticize the politicians. Not fair. God knows a lot of times they need it. And if you're going to state things as a fact, you have to make sure you've come straight. And although your show is called Straight Talk, this post has, and you've done it under the auspices of Straight Talk. You said Straight Talk and in brackets ST, 4th of July, 2025. This is as crooked as I don't even know what. The path to Oz. It was not a straight line. And there are things in here that are not true because of your experience in government, your experience as an elected official. You know how the process works. You know how names can be submitted for consideration to boards and how decisions, depending on the type of board, are often made in cabinet. You even go as far as purposely giving Pilar the wrong last name. That's not a mistake. That's a lie. So if you're going to lie about something so simple, that calls into disrepute the rest of everything that you have said in here. You're undermining your own credibility. And that, unfortunately, is a very, very sad indictment on the two of you. That's why this man was calling y'all washed up. Right? He said, what are two y'all doing here? Bunch of washed up wannabes. The proof is there. The people are not engaging with you. And there is a reason for that. If you want to continue with your show, and I kind of have a feeling that it's not going to last for another hot minute, but if you want to try to make this show a success and to continue with it, might Auntie be able to give you just a little tips of advice? If you can't be honest and you can't be genuine, and this is all about still in your feelings about the port vote and in your feelings about, having lost your seats multiple times politically. You're in the wrong place. The people don't care about any of those things. We have a lot in this country that needs fixing. That's why I told same thing I'm telling Mr. Michael Miles, dear cousin. Put your feelings aside. I am giving you an opportunity to prove yourself. The people of this country are equally going to give you an opportunity to prove yourself. Now, when you get things wrong and you confuse people, I'm going to have to address it. Just like tomorrow, we ran out of time today, but just like tomorrow, I have to talk about district councils because Michael has set up his own district council. And a lot of people are like, how is this possible? I need to set the record straight. When I set the record straight, don't take it personal. Don't get upset with me, honey child. I do my research. I'm coming with facts. If you cannot, at the very minimum, do that, no one is going to listen to you. People have choices in this day and age. And just because you drive time, don't mean that they're going to listen to you because they have nothing else to do. And look, you know, they have the beautiful, well-spoken, intelligent, and professional Sabrina Turner in the same drive time spot. You can imagine. First week, you got 13 people watching you between all of your platforms, 2 Facebook pages and YouTube. And Sabrina pulling in 100 and odd, 200 on the live stream. On Friday, was it Thursday or Friday? Thursday, when the police commissioner had his press conference, she had over 300-400 people listening. Your show has never seen those numbers. So I'm going to say to you, the writing has long been on the wall for you guys. And so, my darling, honey child, sorry that you got removed from this board. You'll be fine. You'll get over it. You always land on your feet. God knows that's the truth. And in the words of the man from Scranton, this is how we're going to end the show today. No better and more fitting way than to end it like this, honey child.
Yeah, this is the man from Scranton. I don't need to call no name, but I just here driving on a beautiful evening listening to you guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Sir.
And I would like to really ask you guys what a point of this show is. What a point of this show. All 200 elected chances in Cayman, and they didn't do nothing. Now when I got this talk show about straight talk, I want to get to the point and find out. Want to waste on the time for about straight talk? This show needs to be named One Hit Wonders.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.